So I'm sure the question has been asked, why? Out of all the characters, why this character? Why Miho Nosaka? Well, in this video, I'm actually going to get into that, so if you're curious, well, you're about to get your answer. Here we go. Welcome, duelists new and old. This is Senpai YGO, and I'm happy to have you here. Well, let's get into it. Miho Nosaka, this is a character that was not too well received by a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh fans out there, or just watchers of the show, period. And it's kind of interesting because I think I actually have a few answers as to why that was the case. And for me, I've personally taken the time to check out a whole lot of different reviews on YouTube from several different creators that gave the show a fair shake and decided to share their thoughts on it. And it's so interesting how many times I've seen, and more often than not, there being a particular segment of each of these videos that I've watched where there's a genuine displeasure in discussing Miho in terms of that particular reviewer's experience of the character. And I think a lot of that just simply has to do with culture. So for those that may or may not be too well in tuned into the anime scene of things, a lot of Miho's traits and a lot of her personality, and especially the gags that go on throughout season 0, especially with her relationship with Honda aka Tristan, for those of you English dub onlys, it's interesting because in those cases, I saw that a lot of people really didn't like how she treated Honda, how she acted around him, and a lot of people saw that she may have been taking advantage of him and things of this nature. And that's the thing about it, is in Japan, and especially in anime culture, and it's been this way for quite some time, and it still exists today, and it actually happens in reverse. There's always the trope of the clueless girl or the clueless boy that has no real idea and is totally oblivious to the feelings of a character that likes them. This is just something that is pretty well recognized in a lot of Japanese culture, and particularly in anime culture, and it's just meant to be a comedic gag. It's supposed to be funny, it's not really supposed to be taken in a negative light, if you will, and most Japanese audiences would be just fine with these things. But what I came to notice as well as a bit of a trend when I was checking out a lot of these reviews is most of these audience members may have been more geared towards the Western audience. And I think that that just highlights the fact that, again, this might be a cultural difference in how we perceive things versus how others will. So in other words, when we take one group of people that may be centered in a certain spot in the world, they may have certain social norms and what have you that don't quite align with other social norms in another location on the planet where other groups of people view things a different way. And so this, I believe, is one of the biggest factors as to why she was so disliked and really not well received by a lot of people. Personally, I really didn't have these issues because I've checked out plenty of anime, not just in terms of action-based or dramas, but even just slice-of-life anime that are out there in the world. There's really a lot of good stuff out there, and you come to find that if you really broaden your horizons on all the different shows that exist and have existed for quite some time, you find that, again, a lot of these kinds of traits that you see with Miho's dynamic with other characters is very, very reminiscent of just general things that you would see in other characters, in other shows, and what have you, even in manga. But the other piece of this puzzle is the fact that she was not brought back once the anime was made into the form that we know, love, and most of the world recognizes today. And a big part of that then turns to the question, well, was it because she was not popular? Was it because the Japanese audience just totally hated her guts and so she just had to go? They just had to get rid of her? Well, actually, I would beg to differ. My reasoning would fall more in line with the fact that they wanted to stay a lot more faithful to the original manga, and especially with the shift towards a card game centric show where Kazuki Takahashi's focus was far more honed in on the card game aspect of the show, especially because at the time when all these decisions were being made and where we essentially got the reboot that we now obviously know of as the official show today, The fact of the matter is, there were so many fans asking and begging and pleading to know about if Duel Monsters was an actual card game and if it was going to be made available to the public to play, that it essentially left Kazuki Takahashi with his hands tied. There was no other choice in the matter. He had to go all in on this card game. He wanted to please the fans that were really so enthusiastic about his creation. And so, that is why we have the anime as it exists today, and so that is also why Miho Nosaka is not a prominent character in this version of the show, given that obviously priorities change, circumstances change, and so with that, the cast obviously had to change. And it had to change insofar as becoming more faithful to the original cast of characters in terms of focus, which obviously led to the friend group that we know more prominently today versus the version of it that we had present in Season 0. So the question still remains, why this character? Why did I choose this character to be the centerpiece of my upcoming film, Yu-Gi-Oh! Bonds Beyond Space? So, I want you to level with me here. The fact of the matter is with this character, she could have not happened. There was a possibility that she would have been a blink and you'd miss it. A character that just never really truly took off. Never would have had any real acknowledgement, never even would have been known by her name. The character that shouldn't have, yet is. The character that could have not, but did. The way I'd put it is, this character was a wild card, waiting to be played. I happened to draw that card, and so I'm choosing to play it. That's effectively why. That's the reason why I wanted this character, why this character was perfect, why Miho Nosaka is the perfect character for the story that I'm looking to tell. This is a character that, in universe, has every reason to be heartbroken by the fact that she was separated from her friends and then, of course, left all alone. In a real-world sense, this is a character that was not only long lost and forgotten, but this is a character that most duelists today don't even know of. But there are those that do. There are those that remember her. There are those that still appreciate her for what she is and what she was made to be, even if it was short-lived. Her only appearances in Season 0 and in the manga is really all we have. Or rather, it's what we had. Because this film is going to paint her in a totally new light. And I can only hope that this time around, all duelists everywhere with differing views and perspectives will find something about this story and this Miho to like. This has been Senpai YGL. Thanks for watching.